So my goal is still to get that bachelor's.
Yeah.
But I feel like I have to finish my job with my children first. You know, like for me, that's priority. My oldest went and got her cosmetology license, and she's deciding her next steps.
Sure.
You know, my youngest is looking at her next steps. So I feel like once I have them and I know they're good, I can concentrate on me again. And I just don't feel like I can do it until I know that. Like, I kind of feel guilty, you know, because I'm like, well, I got to make sure your school's being paid for so you can have your future type of thing, you know. Because there's always that sense of, at any time, all that I've been able to get through and accomplish can just go. You know, at any time, anything can happen, you know, and that's been my reality, is that at any time, no matter what you've worked for, can be taken from you. You know, so I try to instill that in my children, to have that resiliency to fight. And I think that led me into doing what I was doing, because when I started in community coalitions, again, in Dutchess County, I don't know education, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. And what I realized was, wait a minute. You know, as I'm learning and I'm seeing, I'm like, I think I might be able to maybe help here. Sure. This might be where I might be able to help. If I can help a woman who's coming out of a domestic violence shelter, and we're doing straight outreach, and she comes up and she says, I don't have any furniture. And we're able to that day get her a bed, a dresser, and something like that. Because I've been able to work with a coalition. I've had the honor of working with coalitions who provide these services. And we work together to be aware of what everyone can do so we can help those who need.
Sure.
Then let me pass that information forward. When I'm doing street outreach, and a gentleman who's done his time and got HIV prevention education while he was in there, and he wants to now give back to the community, the fact that I can rattle off a phone number of Hudson Valley Community Services and say, hey, ask for this person, maybe they can have you come out, and you can do that. You know, that's something I can do. You know, and so now it's grown. I mean, Team Newburgh has gone, like I said, from the 3 to 6 members. This last one, we had about 40 members at the meeting. And they're all there working on, whether it be community safety or education or the substance abuse piece. We're all working together. You know, and it's sad. You know, when I have 7th graders telling me they're scared to look out their window in the evening because the heroin users are in their backyard and they're using, and they're watching in the window that she's looking. She's like, and I'm scared that they're gonna, you know, my family's gonna get robbed. And they're not understanding on the level that most likely they're just there to get high and they'll eventually move on. But to a 7th grade child, it's scary. You know? And so for me, it comes when we're looking at issues like this, the community has to come together. And it's hard in a community where there's a lot of crisis. It's hard in a community who is seen as a hub for, you know, drugs. I mean, if you look at the overdose deaths in Newburgh, a lot of them aren't from Newburgh.
No.
They're from outside Newburgh.
And there's overdoses all around the county.
Yep, absolutely. But Newburgh tends to feel like they take that rap. You know, they tend to feel like they carry that. And the residents here are saying, you know, that's not what we want. It's not really yours if you don't give it away. You know, so it was, I can't remember the exact quote she said, but if you have it and you don't give it away, then what are you really doing? You can't keep it.
Sure. You
know, you have to be able to give it away. And she says you've been able to do something in your personal life. You know, and I had another supervisor come to me one time too. She said, if you stop and think of your life over what you've dealt with personally and professionally and where you've come, she says you have to be able to give that back. You know, you have to be able to tell people you can do this. You know, and it's hard because you're dealing with a sense of people feeling hopeless. You know, when you're in those situations, or when you're bogged down and you're in that moment, and the drugs have that grip on you, and you're trying to work your way out of it, and you've got every negative thing being thrown at you as you're trying to work your way through, and the only way you've ever learned how to cope is by using. How do you stop? You know, and deal with these other pieces. You know, and that's where I find a lot of people are at. It's how do I stop? Now, heroin is a whole other ballgame.
Right.
You know.
Because of the physical.
Yeah, there's a whole other physical piece. I mean, I know I unfortunately have gone to school with quite a few people who are currently heroin addicts that I know personally, and I'm watching them. And all you can do is just try to be there. all you can do is just say, when you're ready, I mean, what do you need? You know, I can guide you. I can give you a phone number to call. But when you're ready to make those steps, you know, that's when you'll do it. And that's why I feel with heroin, the medication-assisted treatment is crucial for some people. Some people could do it without.
Right.
Some people, though, the vast majority cannot. You know, and so that's where that medicated assistance comes in for, you know, for that. And you're seeing success with some people where they have that, and then they're able to move on and live productive lives, and they're able to attain those goals that they have for themselves. But again, it's when they say it's a monkey on your back, when they say drug addiction is like a monkey, it really is like a monkey on your back.
Yeah.
You know, it is kind of a good analogy, because you do feel bogged down, you feel weighed down, you feel like, well, what is the point? You know, and what I try to tell kids is, no one ever wakes up and wants to be a heroin addict.
Right.
No one ever wakes up and says, today I'm going to be a heroin addict, and I'm going to be the best heroin addict there ever was. Like, that's not how it works. I said, it works with you saying, I can't deal with my social studies or my English teacher, and I'm going to smoke a blunt before I go to her classroom.
Right.
I said, you never know what you're turning on in your brain when you do that, and your brain is still developing. And in a developing brain, these substances act like a computer virus, and it takes over the natural pathways. And you're changing the way your brain should be functioning.